is Energize, we'd actually start standing. So you can come to your mat. And depending on what you've been doing, this idea of getting up and moving our body a little bit to awaken. So taking a wide stance, this is actually a movement I use a lot in our happy hips session. And it's just to get the lower body a little freed up, especially if you've been sitting. Toes can be turned where it's natural for your knees to follow. But you can have either hands on your hips or one hand in a fist and the other on top with relaxed elbows. You'll bend the knee in the direction of your toes. You can start either direction. You'll pull your hips straight back and then glide across to the other side and come back up. Now, what we want to really focus on as we come down is that we're actually going back with our hips without letting the chest drop. You might hear little pops or cracks in the hip joint as you roll through the femur. Tap into your breath. We'll do 2 more this direction, and then we'll reverse our direction. And if the hands are in fists, you'll switch the hands. So right hand fist, left hand on top. Bend into the opposite knee first. Cross over and back up. Gonna do about 4 more. And in these rotations, tapping into the breath is really key because all of a sudden we're asking our lower body, our quadriceps, to fire quite a lot, and our heart rate will pick up. To slow the heart rate, use the exhalation, calming the nervous system so it's not getting too fired up too fast. Firm in your feet, but spread out through your toes. Do 1 more. Sometimes I lose count. Whenever you lose count, my rule of thumb is always 1 more. From here, take your hands onto your hips. Turn your toes in. Take a big breath in, and then lean your heart over your left knee. Soft knees. Reach your chest down. Let the head go. Circle in front between the feet and come back up over the right leg. Big breath in. Smooth breath through. Now here you can close the eyes. I like to close the eyes to tap deeper into the breath and keep the movement slow, steady, and smooth. Feeling a rooting down through the feet, that firm ground beneath you to press against, which actually allows you to rise further out of your waist as you cross through center. Do a couple more here. Next time you land at the top, center, take a pause, a breath, and go the other way. Over the right leg first, down and across, rolling up, and around again. You can go as slow or as fast as you choose. Just truly tap into the amount of breath that you can manage. So a deeper inhalation to a longer exhalation, starting to create more space in your lower back. And turning our world a little upside down is good for the body, good for the brain. Most of us would probably comment that our world does feel a little upside down. And so why not join it by getting a little upside down to get right side up. Do 1 more rotation. And when you reach the top, stay paused here. Hands on hips, elbows wide, shoulders drop from the ears. Now you'll probably feel as though you're pressing out through the outer edges of your feet. So for a moment, imagine you were sliding and your feet were sliding away from center, and pull them slightly inward. As you pull inward, feel the inner lines of your legs wake up. You might even turn your toes slightly in. Take a deep breath here and pull your hips straight back. Keep pulling your feet towards each other, but bow your heart forward. As you come down, the eyes can stay closed or they can open, gazing between the feet across the edge of your mat. Release your fingertips to the floor and reach your hands out and away from you. So this wide-legged forward fold, there's a weight back in the heels, so the hips are pulling back, but you're countering that with a reaching of your hands forward. As you press through your finger pads, and if the floor feels really far, you can bend your knees a little more here or bring a block or 2 blocks under your fingers, but press down so that you feel your back widen and your neck get long. We press into firm ground. We actually get a little bit of feedback in our body where we can actually soften a joint and use the muscle to pull us out of it. That might tip the weight to your toes. Pull back into your heels. Now walk the hands back under your shoulders and lift halfway. In that deep forward fold, let the blood flow come back from head to heart. So like a tabletop position, hands to shins, straight arms, shoulders back. Take the hands up to your hips and come all the way up to standing. Deep exhalation to get rid of any dizziness you might feel. And step your feet together and come to the top edge of your mat. And this time where the big toes touch. Release the arms to Tadasana. Root down through the corners of your feet. So the inner big toe mound, the outer pinky toe mound. The backs of the heels anchored. As you press down, it's like you're trying to pull energy out of the earth, lifting up through the legs, so squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. Shoulders onto your back, bring your hands to your heart. Close the eyes if they're open, setting intention, dedication to move and breathe with a calibration in mind so that every breath is bringing you more and more into your own unique alignment. As we find our way through this practice to our center, allow it to be guided by your breath. Press down through the feet, pull up through the low belly, reach your arms overhead, straight up, open your eyes, even look up. Stretch up, another big breath in to lengthen, hips back, forward fold, bow. Lift halfway, inhale, and step your left foot back to warrior one. Reach your arms to the sky. Now from warrior one, we'll take eagle arms. So you'll bend your arms out to the left and to the right and sweep your left arm under your right. You can hold opposite shoulder, squeeze the shoulders down from the ears, and then backs of the hands to each other. If you catch the upper thumb, great. Lean forward out of your waist, press through your left heel. Draw your right hip back and your left hip slightly forward. And once again, it feels as though when our feet are wide, we're pushing away from center. So try to pull the feet towards center, engaging another layer of the body's energy, that muscular connection as you pulling your right foot to your left and your left towards your right, keeping your left knee straight. As you reach a little further out of your waist, look at your fingertips with your eyes, but pull your chin in. And then gradually reach so far that your back heel lifts, and then square your foot. So you're pulling the left heel out, and you'll feel your left hip come down to meet your right. Keep reaching until you get so light your left leg comes up, your right leg gets straight. Like airplane variation with eagle arms. You can stay quite high on your heart, or you can go lower if the leg goes higher. When you'll feel the heat building in the body, release the arms to airplane wings. On your next inhalation, sweep up to the sky, feet together. Keep the arms lifted, exhale. Feel the shoulders descend down your back. Look up, stretch up, and then forward fold. Lift halfway and step your right foot back. Warrior one, reach for the sky. Take the right arm underneath the left, catch opposite shoulder. As you catch your opposite shoulder, pull the elbows up and down with your shoulders from your ears. You can almost use your hands to give yourself an assist. Back of the hands together or catch the upper thumb. Keep steering your right hip forward, hinge subtly forward so you feel spacious in your mid-back. And sometimes when we're upright, we're creating that back bend. So we want to draw the navel in, reach out of the waist, root down through the feet, and feel your right pinky toe really press down. Eyes to your fingertips, chin draws in, neck nice and long. Sit a little deeper into your left knee. Now reach so far forward that your back heel starts to lift. When it lifts, square the toes, all five toes forward. As you turn the heel out, keep reaching till your left leg gets straight. Reach up out of your waist. Your right leg will hover. It can hover higher as your heart goes lower, or you can stay in that takeoff position. Open your wings to airplane. Express out through your fingertips. Roll the heads of the arm bones back. Soften the elbows. Then sweep up, feet together. Keep the arms lifted, exhale. Take another breath here. Stretch out of the waist, out of the legs. Forward fold. Halfway lift. And step your left foot back this time to warrior two. As the heel comes down, cartwheel the arms open. And to rinse the shoulders here, you can take the hands onto your tail, create a diamond shape. If you can reach the other hand, squeeze your fingers, interlock them, and then take a peek inside your knee and make sure you can see your big toe. Now pull your elbows back first. So you're drawing the heads of the arm bones towards each other. And then maybe slide the hands down if there's space. If the wrist pops away, it kinks out, go back to bend in the elbows. Turn the heart slightly forward and then hinge across to that far left corner of your mat. Now you can pause anywhere here or continue to descend your heart and look back towards your left foot. Using the hands to squeeze, helping to counter the direction that your heart is lowering. You're pushing against gravity or actually pulling against gravity, your hands to the sky. 3. Tuck your right sitting bone under. 2. And then on your next inhale, squeeze the arms back. We're just rinsing the shoulders here. Let them float up as you release your hands. Full breath in. Tap your back leg as you breathe out. Left hand comes forward. Pivot onto the back toes. You need to step in, go for it. Reach up. Now hinge forward, sweep the arms back. Airplane, go up again. Float your heart. Lift your back leg, squeeze that glute. Feet together, arms reach out. Keep the arms lifted. Exhale. Big breath in. Forward fold. Lift halfway. Step your right foot back. As you breathe out, the heel comes down. Warrior two, come on up. As you set your feet, the hands can catch the hips for a moment. Check the inner knee for the big toe. Hands onto your tail or interlocking the fingers. Maybe switch the hand that's on top. That's also good for our brain. Squeeze the elbows back. Turn the heart slightly forward. Squeezing elbows towards each other. The hands come down towards the tail and your heart gradually leans forward. Now you can stay here on an angle. Tuck the left sitting bone or begin to descend so your shoulders just inside your left knee. Let the eyes gaze back to your right foot. If you can reach and squeeze the hands up overhead, let there be a lifting quality. So as this can feel heavy, let there be a lightness to feeling for your outer right pinky toe, letting the head drop, softening the skin. Navel to spine. On your next in-breath, come on back up. Where you release your hands, let them float back out. Full breath in. Right hand touches the back leg. Come into a lunge position, arms forward. Reach up as you inhale. Hinge forward, arms sweep back, airplane, take off. Now as your feet come together, the arms go overhead. Inhale, keep the arms lifted. Exhale, shoulders to your back. Full breath in. Forward fold, let it go. Halfway lift. And this time step back to downward dog. Now bringing all 4 points to balance the weight. As you press into 5 fingers on one hand, 5 fingers on the other. So all 10 fingers. Press through the nail or the finger pads so you feel like the nail beds, if you were looking at them, they'd almost turn a little bit white. And then lift your 10 toes, sink into your heels, draw your navel in and up. Take another full breath here. Empty completely. Then lift your heels nice and high. Float forward to the top edge of your mat, shoulders over wrists. Plank position for 3. Make minor adjustments here of pulling that energy from the floor and lifting up out of your waist. Now your knees can come down at any time. And on your 3rd count here, we're lowering all the way to the belly. Giving the body something to lean into, press into the tops of the feet, lift the knees, heart hovers. And we'll hover here and keep the breath smooth in, smooth out. It's good practice to just stay in a subtle lift rather than our big cobra lift to gain some length out of our mid back, lower back, and rather than just compressing into it. Float your hands, bring your elbows down to about your shoulder height. So if they're pointing up to the ceiling, draw them back. The hands hover just off the floor by your face. For 3. Crown of the head reaching forward. Your eyes can look along the floor. Try not to lead from your chin. You'll hear what happens even if I do that. It strains my throat. So keep the neck long and then lift both legs from the femur bones here. And start to push out through your forearms to the left and to the right, like you're taking up more space to the left and right, or you're trying to open an elevator door, stop it from closing. There's like pushing them apart. Hover for 3. For 2. And then relax, let the arms come down, let everything land. Kiss the mat with your left cheek. And turn the chin forward, stretch the legs back, point through the toes. Hands come underneath like you're going to cobra, but just lift to hover again. So your heart lifts just an inch or two off the floor, maybe higher if you've got that back strength. The head comes to. Pull your body forward. So if you feel as though when you push into your hands, your body moves back, pull on your hands, that grip of your mat, you'll feel your body come forward. As you breathe here, start to lift the hands and then sink the elbows down to shoulder height or even a little bit lower, and you'll feel your chest naturally lift slightly. Press down through the toenails. As you press the toenails into the floor, you'll feel a little feedback through the legs. Hug the inner thighs together and then float your feet off the floor. For 3, push your elbows wider, expand your back. 2. And on your last breath here, come down again, this time right cheek to the floor. Let your whole body rest. Hands under the shoulders or slightly back from, tuck your toes. Press up and back, puppy dog. Nice long stretch here from fingertips to tail. And come up onto all fours. Stretch your left leg straight and bring your right knee to your right wrist and your right foot across underneath to a half pigeon position. If half pigeon is not a place for your knees, you can always lie onto your back and thread the needle. But do sink your hips back first and then lift up onto fingertips. We'll pull halfway forward like we did from the beginning in our warrior 1. And you can have your hands here for support, but see if you can practice coming out of your hands so that your shoulders stay relaxed. So that hands are here for balance, but that we're sending that stability down into our hips, into our lower body. Keep that neck nice and long, the trajectory of your spine kind of out of that waist and slightly taking off through the ceiling. As you're about halfway down, just bring your left forearm somewhat in front of you down to the floor for stability. And you can greatly increase this stretch by rotating subtly your ribs to the right. You don't have to go very far to feel that, but if you have space, go for it. And the eyes can look in any direction that feels okay on the neck. And then unwind your rib cage. Bring the hands down in front, planting them firm into the floor. Tuck the back toes, maybe walk your hips up first. Create some space to 3-legged dog. Stretch that right leg back. Couple donkey kicks with that right leg. Sort of kick your heel to your backside and then out again. And then right leg down. Bring your left knee to your left wrist. Left foot across and up the edge of your mat on the right side. And again, if you're doing thread the needle or you're lying on your back, good option. Protecting the knees. We do that by flexing the foot. Try sitting up a little taller. You can practice lifting the hands or bringing them back a little further. Or you're leaning halfway forward. And the higher we go, the more intense in our lower back this can feel. So feel the length through your breath like you did lying on the floor. Try to keep your hips level so you're not falling left or falling right. And then bring your right forearm down in front of you. Left hand out to the left side, just giving you something to push against. But pull your shoulder back. That subtle bit of rotation. We had our legs work a lot for us even before this practice, so allow them the space to open back up. Bring that left hand to plant firm, the right hand to tuck the back toes, walk the hips up, and then slide back to three-legged dog. Kick the left leg in and out a few times. And come all the way down to a seated position, legs around in front. As you sit tall here, catch the fronts of your shins or the backs of your thighs, and then roll your tail and your lower back. You can hover the hands if you're working your core. Otherwise, little walk down the backs of the thighs. If you're placing a nice long linked chain, link by link to the floor, slide your feet in. Brush your heels with your fingers. We'll do one bridge here just to set the spine. Lifting by pulling your heels towards your shoulders. Firm in your feet. Back of the head presses down, chin off the chest, throat open for 3, for 2, and releasing down. Slide the feet away. Option to let the knees come in, feet go wide. Option to take your feet together, let your knees fall wide. Either way, left hand on your heart, right hand on your belly. Close your eyes. Deep breath in. Sighing breath out. To reinvigorate midday, midweek. To ask a little more of our body at times and know where our edges are. To move into those edges, not in a way that's detrimental, but in a way that creates more access. And that's what our 30 minutes is for here. Bring your hands outside your knees. If you're feeling good here, just stay here. Otherwise, bring the knees into the chest. A little rock side to side. And then a little rock front to back, maybe 2 or 3 from shoulders to hips. And you'll come back up to a seated position. If you have more time to lie still, it's always nice to do that. If you're ready to move on, sit tall, close your eyes. Bring your hands back to greet. And the connection and the awareness, you're finding your feet, that rooted connection to the earth, our ability to draw the prana, the energy from the earth into our lungs, but also into our body, our muscle fibers. Bow your head to your heart, honoring the time, the energy, the movements. I bow to your light. Namaste.